Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is October the 23rd, 2024, and today the topic is preparing for the unknown. Happy Wednesday. It's Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope you guys had a wonderful Tuesday. Mine was just fine. Yes, mine was good. Overall, main highlights from yesterday is we knocked out NJ's assignments. He made me very, very proud yesterday. We did a check-in.
To my teacher.
Yes, we talked to his teacher. We have to do like a monthly. We had to do a monthly check-in with his teacher. Because of the virtual public school situation. And so it went well. She was asking him questions and he knew the answers to all the things that, she asked him. She also asked if he had any questions for her. And this guy gonna pull out one of the Bible quiz questions. He asked her how many books there was in the Bible. She didn't know. But he was able to answer the question.
70, 60 something.
She said 20 something. And Jay told her the right answer, and he was telling her how he liked the Bible and things of that nature. And I just couldn't help but be a little proud mom of my little guy.
I had 3 Bibles, actually.
Look at this guy. You know what I'm saying? How many Bibles you got? Look, are you opening any of them? That's the question today. Speaking of NJ as well, I don't know if he just got inspired by the little girl, but he also wanted to draw a picture of me and whatnot. So
I would like to share my Bibles with y'all.
Okay, well, how about I let you share afterwards? I'm sharing the picture that you drew for me, and I'll let you share your Bibles after the juice, okay?
Oh, you always let me do that.
So, but yeah, so it is quite early, man. This reminds me of my early juice mornings, you know what I'm saying? It's before 6 a.m. How I used to do and everything like that. It's like 5:45 as I look at the clock at the moment. Yeah, I've been up ever since 1:56, which was significant this morning. And I've been taking this deep dive into the word preparation and things of that nature. There were some things that tried to shake me, man, tried to throw me off or whatever. Because I was being a little disobedient, and I came across the comment, and I started to read it, and my blood started to boil. But I took some time. I prayed before I finished reading it. But things of that nature. And so by the time I did finish reading it, all I could do was just laugh because I just was like, you know what? At the end of the day, I can't control how people or what people think about me, or whatever. So things of that nature. So I'm not going to worry about any of that. But so yeah, it took me some time this morning after that whole thing to just kind of get focused and things of that nature. And since I was up early, I decided to start my process early of doing the juice. So I listened to the prayer meditation. And then after that, I went and looked into the verses centered around 1:56, which is the time that I woke up. Now, the only verse that really was standing out to me was Luke 1:56. So I went to go take a look at it, and this is what it says. It says, "And Mary abode with her about 3 months and returned to her own house." That's the verse. And I was like, well, Lord, what are you saying to me with this? You know what I'm saying? On one hand, I'm like, 3 months of preparation? I'm like, what's going on? Like, what are you saying to me? Now, those that may not be familiar, what's going on in that particular passage is that Mary went to visit Elizabeth, which we know they both had miraculous conceptions, things of that nature. And so they spent some time together, basically, I guess 3 months. And then this verse is saying that she went back home. Now, I was going, doing a deep dive about it because I'm like, well, Lord, are you saying something to me about this? Like, do I need, what's going on? And the main thing that I was receiving was like preparation. And I'm like, well, prepare for what? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm over here like, I feel like I'm in a good place finally. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm content. Like, I'm really content about everything. And I don't know. Just because you're content don't mean stay stagnant, right? So that's one thing. I know, you can get comfortable in one place and then the Lord's like, and now here, and now more, and now, you know what I'm saying? So you got to be prepared, right, for those things. In some ways, I don't know if I was prepared for the current road I'm on and things of that nature. I wasn't prepared for all the backlash and things like that. But then again, I guess in some ways I was. So to God be the glory, right, for favor and things of that nature, and wisdom, right, and discernment, and knowing what to do, right, when you are faced with adversity. But with all that being said, I was really seeking the Lord about, like, well, Lord, what am I preparing for, and what is it, what I know, what more can I do, and things of that nature, but just really trying to get an understanding about that. And so I was praying about it, and just, every question I was having, I was trying to go deeper about it, look into what the Bible had to say about it, different things of that nature. And then at some point, it was like right after I prayed. So I prayed, for God to give me like wisdom and understanding and clarity in reference to like what to prepare for. And then this verse just came into my heart and mind. And at first, here's the thing: like when you get like a random verse and numbers and stuff like that, you be like, "Is this a real verse?" Or is this just, is this just something in my mind? This is my own thought. So I ain't gonna lie. Like when I first got this, I was like, you know what, I'm going to pay attention. So I went to go look it up. So what came to my mind was Psalm 49 and 20. So I was like, okay. And it was like right after I prayed. Like I literally, I finished praying. I was like, amen. I think I sighed. I had, did like this. And then next thing I know, boom. That was Psalm 49, 20. And I was like, huh? Okay. And then I went to look at it. And this is what it said. It says, man that is in honor and understandeth not is like the beast that perish. I was like, oh Lord. I said, Lord, is this? I was like, is this bad news for me? Like, what's going on? Like, and stuff like that. So I started going deeper. I started going deeper about that, right? And starting to be like, okay, well, Lord, what's happening? And so basically, what I was receiving here, and I think the main thing that stood out to me as I was like, having these ongoing little conversations, and y'all know I use ChatGPT as well sometimes. I'll be very specific when I'm talking about Bible stuff. I say biblical wisdom and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that this is, that the ChatGPT is the Lord talking or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, as I think things through and as I ask questions, and then I go deeper and I go to the Bible, it's just a part of my little study habit at this point. But anyway, one of the quotes that stood out to me in the process was this. It said, stay focused on seeking his wisdom and eternal, I knew I should have wrote better. Oh gosh. Eternal perspectives rather than getting caught up in external or temporary things. I'm going to read it again. All right. Stay focused on seeking his wisdom and eternal perspectives rather than getting caught up in external or temporary things. Now that hit home in a lot of ways, because obviously y'all know, and I talked about it yesterday, even though I didn't talk about it on Monday, but at least 2 days last week, I received it also on Monday, and I feel like even today's conversation is still centered around me not looking back at things of that nature. And it could be for a variety of reasons. I think, again, there's been some temptations, like blasts from the past, things of that nature trying to come my way. But then there's also like looking back on who I used to be, right? Looking back on, maybe my doubts and fears and things of that nature, like, and going back into that mindset. So, like I said, I was going deeper about that because I'm like, well, what am I looking back at, Lord? And like, help me understand, like, what are you saying not to look back at and things of that nature? And so the more, again, I prayed and was seeking and things of that nature, I feel like I got a little bit more clarity in reference to those things. But what does all this have to do with preparation, right? Because at the end of the day, I think, again, it's hard to prepare, right, when you don't know what you're preparing for, right? Now, I know on one hand, in the Go Deeper section, obviously there's these passages that are referencing Noah, right? There's these passages that are also referencing, like, the 10 wise bridesmaids or women, that was waiting on the bridegroom, things of that nature, right? But see, they knew what they was, for the most part, Noah knew that there was going to be some rain, even though it was unseen, but, obviously he, moved forward in faith, right? These women, and then I guess when it comes to the bride, waiting on the bridegroom, things of that nature, okay, they know that the bridegroom is coming, so they got their lamps with the oil and the X, Y, and Z, right? So staying prepared when you don't know what it is, I get that that's the overall, I guess, theme. But I guess, and I didn't put this in the Go Deeper section, but you guys can go and, reflect on this, but I guess I'm receiving right now that maybe Abraham is probably a good example, right? Of what was unknown and unseen. Like, how am I gonna have, this huge family that God is talking about when me and my wife is old? You know what I'm saying? And we ain't had no children, X, Y, and Z. But he had that faith, right? He had that courage and all that to move forward with what God had said. Yeah, he tried to do some things his own way, him and his wife, they tried to do that, and obviously Ishmael was your X, Y, and Z. But for the most part, Abraham was righteous and faithful in that regard, which can be a inspiration to us today. But here are the verses that I felt led to write down this morning in reference to this. I pretty much got most of them when I went to openbible.info. So y'all can go and plug this phrase in. It's also in the Go Deeper section. It's close to today's title, but instead of saying preparing, I just pretty much put prepare for the unknown, and that's what kind of led me to some of these verses that I'm getting ready to share right now. But man, yeah, I hope that these things encourage you and inspire you to prepare, right, for the unknown. I know it can be difficult and confusing and things of that nature. Because like I said, I've been on my journey all these hours between 1 and 5, to get to where I am today with this information. But, hopefully you're encouraged and inspired to seek the Lord about what this means for you, right, in your life. So, the first verse I felt led to write down was Luke 21:36. It says, "But stay awake at all times, praying that you may have strength to escape all these things that are going to take place and to stand before the Son of Man." On one hand, I'm like, well, Lord, what's going on? What's about to take place? But on the other hand, I believe that the Bible already told us what's to come. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, it's those things that we're standing up for, right? It's those things that we are preparing for ultimately. So, yeah, I know there's things going on in our individual lives, and then there's things going on, like, in this particular time and stuff like that. And I know people often talk about the end times, right, and things of that nature. And I'm one of those ones to say that I feel like we are in the birth pains of the end time. I don't think we are, like, right in the Antichrist end time situation that Revelations is talking about. But who knows? You know what I'm saying? Only God really, really knows the time and the timeline and things of that nature. I don't know how close we are or whatever the case may be, but I do feel like what I'm receiving today is that it's time to prepare, for the unknown. Time to prepare, period, for the things that we do know, right? I'm still seeking the Lord about what that means for me, and what that means, what I'm supposed to particularly do. But I think, again, it goes back to, I guess, what I was receiving in that quote, focusing on God, his wisdom, eternal perspectives, rather than, again, the external and temporary things of life, right? Let me keep going. So then, 1 Corinthians 16:13, it says, "Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong." This just came to me right now, man, but all right, here it is. I sighed because I'm like, this might be difficult to do, man, but I feel like, again, our brothers and sisters that are in other countries, like, y'all know what true persecution looks like. Y'all are probably, like, closer to the biblical persecution than we here in America are. And I guess for me, what I'm receiving, or what I have to often keep in my mind, is that, we as believers in America, for example, can't think that we will be exempt from the biblical persecution. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, yeah, we might be dealing with, quote unquote, getting counsel right now, right? We might be dealing with, things that aren't even on the same magnitude of being, like, stoned and beheaded and things of that nature, but we can't sit here and act or pretend like those things aren't possible. Just because, again, we've been blessed here in America, I believe, to live in a country that is supposedly, right, free speech, right, supposedly a place where you can worship how you feel like worshiping, things of that nature. And so that is a blessing that I think we often take for granted. And so at some point, when I think about bold faith, I think about, again, the Hebrew boys really inspired me because,
you
again,
mean
they really inspire me. Yes.
Isaac and Abednego.
Yes,
I know that.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. They really inspire me. Their response to King Nebuchadnezzar really inspired me because it's like, they knew they were facing death, right? And they knew that he was a great leader, you know what I'm saying? And they're looking at this fiery furnace and things of that nature, and they're like telling him straight up that, you know what, we're not going to bow. Our God can save us, but even if he don't save us, we still not going to bow. Like, can we get that type of boldness and faith? You know what I'm saying? And I think we probably need to be preparing, to be that bold. Some of us aren't. Don't get Lord, right? Don't get me started this morning. But some of us ain't bold enough to even stand on, like, what the word is saying, and just.
I can't.
There's so many different examples right now, man. I don't want to get too deep into it and stuff like that, because I ain't trying to hurt people's feelings about what they want to do or whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, we all got free will. But what I'm saying is that, we got to get some boldness about us, right? It's telling us plainly here to be like men, and be in a place where we're able to stand and things like that. And so I don't know what we got to do, right, to get that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego type of faith, right? But we need to be practicing that now. Like, practice if you do it, and this is another thing I was receiving this morning, if we're faithful in the small things, right, or if we're practicing now with these quote-unquote small things, like telling the school board that, we're going to stand on biblical principles and let y'all only teach and share basically y'all just gonna only teach and share, English, social studies, math, things like that. You're not gonna be teaching and sharing, unbiblical things to our children, things like that. We're not even being faithful in that type of stuff. So, are you going to stand when it comes to actual persecution, facing the quote unquote guillotine or the stones or whatever the case may be? This is the question that we have to ask ourselves as believers, and at the end of the day, I think we all need to work on getting better prepared and being able to stand in facing when we face adversity. I'm gonna keep going, even though I know my live went out, but let me keep going. So Proverbs 20 and Proverbs 20 and 4. It says, "The sluggard does not plan in the autumn. He will seek at harvest and have nothing." At the end of the day, again, like, this has some value, when it comes to obviously finances or, planting and reaping, things like that. Yes, there's some value in those things. But I believe that this is probably more so for the things of the spirit as well, right? We got to be building up our spirit man, as they say. Again, exercising your faith, right? Standing and things of that nature. If you're faithful in the small things, you're going to be faithful when it comes to the larger things. And so, that's what I'm receiving. That, there's probably more preparation that needs to be, be made in that regard versus, preparing, like saving, burying food in cans and stuff like that. Like, people are prepared in that aspect, but then they're not prepared spiritually. So that's just something to think about. I only got one more verse to share before I get into the Bible verse of today, and that is Matthew 24 and 42. It says, "Therefore stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming." So, again, like this is the importance of staying prepared. This is the importance of, staying ready so you ain't got to get ready and things of that nature. So, this is ultimately the juice this morning. I didn't know, even before, as I was receiving this and stuff like that, I didn't, realize exactly the magnitude of today's conversation. Maybe I was only thinking, just preparation in general. But like I said, I think overall the juice this morning is more so about, again, the spiritual preparation than anything else. And like I said, that's the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is Romans 12 and 12. It says, "Rejoice in hope." Rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer. Friends, I hope you guys enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.